What's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul. Welcome to Liberty Hill Comics, where I share my passion and over 40 years of experience comic book collecting, investing, and conservation with you. This is episode 11 for this copy of America's Best Comics number 12 from January 1945, the golden age of comic books. And today we're going to review the work we did to de-acidify all the interior wraps of this comic book and the mending of the pages that were required in preparation for getting this book back together. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate all the viewers, but especially those that take the time to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. And don't forget, I'm currently running a free subscriber giveaway. All you need to do for a chance to win this awesome slabbed first appearance of Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., is subscribe to the channel and comment on the video. Good luck! By way of summary for this project, we're using my 9-step comic book conservation process. Not all comics require all 9 steps, and we determined this book only needed 6 of the 9 steps. We already performed the assessment, dry cleaning, and the wet cleaning and chemical stabilization, physical stabilization, and also had to perform glue removal when we discovered glue on the cover and first wrap during our assessment. Today we'll review the results of de-acidification and mending of the inner wraps and start reassembly of the book. We'll finish the rest of the steps in future episodes, and we'll complete the series with a summary video when we're all done. I'm happy to report that all the washing and mending of the pages is complete, and all of the pages have been in my cold press for at least a few days. Some of them have been in there for a few weeks. The first few outer wraps and the few in the center of the book take the most wear and tear and needed some mending along the edges at the center line and at the staples. This cover was completely separated down the center line and had to be mended back together from 2 pieces into 1. Additionally, all the little scraps of paper that were glued had to be remended into this cover. I've used the techniques we demonstrated in earlier episodes of this series and completed all of the trimming of the excess tengujo paper where necessary, and the repairs are, for the most part, nearly invisible. Pages are in the range of off-white to cream, and have been de-acidified with an alkaline reserve to protect against future degradation. I've also pressed all the pages. They're all nice and flat and without any creases. Any stains in the paper have been either washed out completely or diminished by the de-acidification and washing process. The inks have generally remained saturated and vibrant and are not washed away substantially. If anything, the inks look brighter on top of the lighter paper. Here are all the pages in order and pressed flat in my CO Masterpiece 350. It's time to put the staples through the wraps and prepare to put a fold back in this book in preparation of the final press, and then we'll be done. Make sure you have clean and dry hands before beginning this work now that your pages have been de-acidified and cleaned. To put the staples back through the book, I have a process that I'll share with you. If I have at least one page that still has the original staple holes in the correct location, then I use this method. Usually the cover is not the best page to use because the old comics, the staple holes on the cover often take a lot of abuse, and even if they are intact, the holes themselves can be elongated and exact placement can be tricky. So here's what I do. I start with the entire book laid out in order with the correct orientation. Then I find an interior page with perfect staple holes. Usually this is not the cover or first wrap, and also not usually the centerfold or next wrap in. Often your best candidate will be the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th wrap into the book. I locate this wrap with perfect staple holes and I remove it from the book and put it on top of the cover. I take care to ensure that the orientation of the page is correct, and then I level all the pages both up and down and side to side by gently tapping the pages on the table, just like you used to do back in elementary school to level all your homework pages prior to stapling them together. Note that each successive page is just a teeny tiny bit less wide than the one above it, so you'll have to center the page on the cover as best you can. This is a normal part of the manufacturing process, and it won't be noticeable when we're done with our work. Once I've done this, I have the pages on my craft mat, and I ensure that there's been no movement between the pages. It's important that the staple holes be made from this orientation, the outside in. This matters because as you create the hole, you're creating a minor tear and pushing the paper fibers out of the way. The correct way to do this is to push the paper fibers into the book in exactly the same way that it would happen during staple placement during the original manufacturing. I use a needle of a similar diameter to the staple and try to push straight down through the pages. I do this for all 4 holes, and then I replace the page that I placed on top to the correct location within the book. Now we're ready to put the staples back in place. In this case, we are reusing the original staples, but if they need to be cleaned, regalvanized, or if you need to make replacement staples, you can view some other videos from my back catalog on how to do that. If you removed the old staples correctly, you will have them labeled with which one is top and which is bottom, and also top and bottom of each individual staple for the orientation. Obviously, I keep the orientation as it was from the factory, if at all possible. You can see in the earlier video in this series how I performed the staple removal for this book. These staples were in pretty good shape, although the lower one had some glue and paper fragments on it. I removed the glue and paper fragments using the same acetone, ethanol, and water solution that you saw me use to dissolve the polymerized polyvinyl acetate glue in earlier videos in this series. It always requires a bit of fussing, and sometimes I adjust the arms of the staples a little bit to make it a bit easier to get them through the paper. One thing that makes this easier is if you've put the holes in the correct orientation. Believe it or not, if you create the hole from the center fold out with the needle, it makes the staple replacement much more difficult, in addition to having the displaced paper being in the wrong orientation. Once I have the staples in place, I lay the book flat open on the tabletop, and I use my block of Delrin with a small hole for one of the staple arms on the book to compress all the pages so I get good pressure on the staple arms once they've been closed. Then I just close the staple arm with my fingernail and press it down a little bit more with a small bit of bamboo. Then I'll check to make sure the pages have all remained well aligned, and if necessary, I'll adjust them by making the staple hole a little wider to align the page perfectly. Repeat that process with the other 3 staple arms, and the pages are back into a complete book again. Now that I have one arm of the staple down, I'm using my capable staple tool from Immaculate Comics to hold it in place while I lay the other arm down. But you could use any suitable piece of plastic or material that has groove in it for the down staple arm. I'm going to wrap up the video here. The next step will be to fold the book and then give it a final press, and we should be ready to send the book off to CGC for slabbing. I'm thinking I'll submit it to CGC for a conserved grade since there are only 17 total copies of this book in the CGC Census, 16 universal and 1 restored. With such a rare wartime book with an amazing Alex Schomburg cover, it deserves to be preserved, and I'll be proud to have it in my collection in conserved grade. I hope you enjoyed this Golden Age comic book conservation video. Most of the materials I use for this conservation are available from Amazon in the affiliate links below if you need any of them for your own conservation efforts. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know below, and tune in for the next episode in the process. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, take care of one another.